How do you know, basically, how many numbers you're going to draw in? How long do you have to promote it?
You don't.
And how do you, how do you do that cost effectively? How do you do, I guess, the general, get a feel for what size it's going to be, and if there's even a level of interest to support it?
Budget, here's a good traditional mindset on it. Budget for 200 people for first year con.
That's healthy.
Yeah, 200. I mean, people,
200 to 400 people for first year con. At most.
People get the idea, especially when they see other big shows, that, oh, I'm going to have thousands of people in my first year. I only know of like 2 conventions ever that have had that many people.
And I'm going to make so much money.
We don't make money on this for many, 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 many years.
No.
In fact, most of the time, we lose money for the first several.
Money on your con.
No, you don't.
Underwriters.
That's,
Sponsors are your friends.
yeah.
Correct
No.
me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me a direct relationship between those people who think, I'm going to have 5,000 people on my first year, and those people think, and I'm going to make so much money.
But how do they not know that? You should have a pretty good idea of how many people you're going to be drawing in.
People have well, okay, this comes back to something that is very true of a lot of people, especially who are just starting conventions.
Yeah.
These are not professional event planners. These are people who are fans, and they don't have a good idea of how these events work, and they just don't.
Those are also the ones that fail the first.
Well, I'm detecting that that's not enough of an answer. That surely we've got better insight than that. And
We
let
do.
me give it to you. When we decided to start GMX, it was based on MTAC drawing a profit. Finally, since we don't get paid, it's all volunteer. We decided let's just start a second convention. So we decided we wanted to get 500 people through the door at $20 a piece for a total of $10,000. Then we reverse engineered the $10,000 into a budget. We knew we had a certain percentage of MTAC attendees that if we told them to stick their face in the toilet bowl, they would do it, as long as the flyer was pretty enough. So, knowing that we have that kind of market command, we just based it low ball at 500, knowing we could do it. We got 560. So, the two luxuries there are sitting on money and commanding the audience already. You can start commanding the audience through community activities in the web, in the local community, doing that kind of building that base so you can give yourself an estimation of how many warm bodies might you have. The money thing is your own problem. But we relaunched MTAC in 2004 with $1,000 from one of the board members. And if you know what you can roll from, you can get enough bills paid after the convention on their due dates.
Oh God, that's a wonderful thing.
Then you can make it work. But somebody gets hung up. In our case, we spent $3,000 more than we budgeted for GMX, so we spent over a little bit. But we've got 3 years for it to sustain itself before we reconsider the idea. In your situation, it might be your credit card. And con chairs get hung up all the time on their credit card because they didn't get what they thought they were getting. And that's the risk of the business.
Allow me to add one note. If I sounded like I was making fun of you, I didn't mean to at all. I was making fun of the wide-eyed, naive fanboys who say,
a lot of people.
By the very fact that you are asking the questions you asked already shows me you're already thinking about this in the right way. You are coming to something like this. You're asking intelligent questions that most fanboys haven't even remotely considered.
Yeah,
So
when
I
you
want
say,
to make sure
when
it
you
didn't
say,
sound like I was making
yeah,
fun of
he
you.
was commenting on the fact that she said, well, how do people not understand that they're not going to get this? That's why. It's because a lot of
It's
people
because
are
they're
very,
not
very
even
naive.
they're not asking the questions that you are precisely answering.
And a lot of people start conventions for terrible, terrible reasons. Like, I really don't like the way this convention does this, so I'm going to start one down the road, sometimes on the same weekend, across town. That happened in Texas.
That happened this weekend.
That happened this week. Oh,
That happened this weekend.
No,
There was
Ooh, I know too many of those
get
people.
in the dealer's room. That's what that was.
What? Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you guys at a
Okay.
separate time.
Okay.
There is
Focus on
these
the
things.
LJ.
We're having a free anime manga themed event on DragonCon weekend, and I was thinking,
Was this
at the Westin.
at the Westin, just
It was a
Isn't
glorified
the Westin
dealer's
one of our
room,
hotels?
basically.
The Westin
Was
is
it-
kind of, sort of one.
Was
It's
it
the
Anime
one.
Day?
Yes.
yeah.
That
Well, no,
phenomenon?
it wasn't John. It was like Gaijin USA. It was.
Yeah, it was a free anime event
And
within
it looks-
walking distance,
and it-
37 minutes. of DragonCon.
Well, no,
I don't consider
it moved to the
37
west.
minutes.
It was
Oh,
moved
you
to the
just
west.
said
It was
My
within
mistake.
20
It moved-
seconds of 3 of the tracks at the Westin.
Yeah,
My mistake.
it
No,
originally was
at Woodruff Park,
37 minutes walk away.
Oh, I didn't know it moved to the Westin.
Yeah, it was in the Westin.
So what is it? A 3-room thing? One
Pretty
way?
much.
A 2-room
It's a,
thing.
it's a trapped market dealer operation.
Yeah.
They've disguised it as a convention activity, but it's really just a dealer's room with one vendor supplying everything at their own fixed price.
There were 3 vendors, but it was.
The one that did that in Nashville a few weeks ago no longer has a guarantee that he has a table in our room. If he's got such a market, why does he need multiple tables in Nashville?
I'll refrain from comment.
I don't worry about it.
I need more.
They have to be
PR.
politically correct because they work on the tracks. I just work for
I'm a
videography,
dealer
I say
for
whatever I
him.
want.
You can see we have various opinions.
I'd love to be a dealer
This-
for you.
This gentleman right here.
In reference back to registration with the badges being